Another episode of People I Know Show. Curt Carstensen here with my sister-in-law, Melissa Carstensen. Good afternoon, Melissa.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing well today. We just saw each other 2 days ago, and then a few days before that. We see each other frequently. Today we're recording through Zoom online, as I want to talk about the thing that we did just a couple days ago.
Yeah.
I, for the first time in my life, was involved with meal prepping. I've seen it. I've heard about it. I hear that it's maybe a healthy way to prepare meals. It's just not something that I really do. Sometimes I have leftovers, but I've never designed a meal that I wasn't necessarily going to eat right away, but I'd have to eat it later and it'd be healthy and kind of stick to a plan. But that's something you told me that you've been doing, and we did it together. The food's been good so far. It seems way healthier than I might otherwise eat. Please explain your inspiration to do that and kind of what else in the health field that you've been involved with lately, because I know it's been very important to you.
Yeah. So what we did was we did a meal prep with chicken with Curt this week. And so we used chicken breasts, or tenderloins is what they were. They're a little smaller portion, 4-ounce portion size, brown rice and vegetables. Then we did a breakfast, and we did also I believe a energy bites too. And the process of meal planning and meal prepping is you'll have healthier options and ready and available for the quick lifestyle that we all live here. And it just seems like things are getting busier and busier as our kids get older. And so I have a little bit more time on hand, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't meal prep if you have a little more time. Because as you learned, we meal prepped 1 full 6 days worth of meals for you, and then breakfast and a snack in 2 hours, right? About that time?
About 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's a lot of food. Like I brought it home with me, and I was thinking it's going to take me a long time. If I eat it properly, it's going to take me a long time to eat it, which is great, because my struggle often is if I don't have something healthy available, then I'll just eat the first unhealthy thing I can get my hands on, or my diet just becomes very erratic. And I know that's not good for me. It's not good for anybody, but it seems like with our busy lives, as you said, sometimes we're forced to make a quick decision, and those quick decisions often are not our best decisions, especially when it comes to eating right.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So, alleviating those barriers of, trying to have stuff prepared ahead of time can help lead to, I think, a healthier lifestyle with eating. And so one of the things that I've done in the past couple months is I've really looked at how can I incorporate healthy recipes into our daily eating, lifestyle that we have. And meal prep seemed to fit our routine a little better. And so what I do is I pick a protein normally on the weekend, and I choose either chicken. We get beef from the Carstensen family, so that's really wonderful. Steaks and other, there's different meat options. So pick your protein that you want. And then I have some different vegetables that are just really easy to add to the meals. So we did an oven baked vegetables, and it was just a mixed variety of different things. And really if you're picky with your vegetables, start with things that you like, but I really encourage you to try new things too. So for an example, before I didn't really think I liked Brussels sprouts, and I went to a place one time and they served delicious Brussels sprouts that were baked. I was like, I bet I could do this. And so I took it home and I made my variation of it. And so I found out that I love Brussels sprouts now. I mean, I can just eat it as a meal sometimes. It's so yummy. And some people might be like, Mel, really? And I'm like, well, that's, your taste buds change. Every 7 years, they say, our taste buds are changing. And so, just keep trying things. And that's the other thing, try things over and over again too. Because you never know. Like, you may find out like, oh yeah, I really do like that. That's really good. Maybe as a kid I didn't, but that's okay. We're older now. So I'm way away from kidhood now. So, and what I found is ripple effect is when you eat like that, they say your family eats like that. And I do believe that, because Samantha, one of my younger daughters, she was very like into her like crackers and all that, just processed stuff. And I tried to pull from that a little bit, mostly because we just need healthier stuff in the house. And the less processed stuff we have, the easier it is to eat healthy. So I've really worked on it. And I go shopping at Aldi's. I mean, I don't know if we should really promote certain grocery stores
Oh,
or
let's
not.
do it. I love Aldi.
But I love Aldi's. Other local grocery stores like the local Cambridge Co-op. Well, sorry about that. Local co-ops, I love those too, because you get local fresh produce from your farmers in the area. And I really love supporting local. I love Cub Foods, I love Walmart. I like them all. I mean, I'm not really partial to anything. It's just what is the easiest for me to get to at the time. So all these just happens to be easier to access for me. So I tend to go there and source my vegetables and fruits and sometimes some of the grains. And yeah, so, but getting back on track here, so Curdy and I developed a meal plan, and I worked with him and I taught him how to cut the vegetables, but he's actually really good at cutting vegetables. But we went through that. We went through how to season them and like talk about different seasonings and how to marinate. And so with the cooked vegetables, we put oil on it and then seasoned it. And so that turned out pretty good overall. And then the chicken, the same thing. We just went through that, just cooking the chicken, how to do that, and then packaging it up and putting it away so that he could eat it for meals for that week. So there's been a different variety of variations of things. And sometimes I do pick two proteins. I'll go back to the meal prepping for my family because we have a family of 5 now. We used to have a family of 6, but one of our kids moved to college. So now we're down to 5 kids. And some days it's just 4 of us because we're a blended family. So sometimes one of the kids is going back and forth between other parent homes. But so anyways, we'll mix it up and do like beef and chicken. So there's lots of different things you can do. There's lots of different recipes online, but I have really focused in on that to help my family is what I'm starting with first, and then helping people as they ask. And then, we just kind of go through that. So
how did you, if you did, I'm assuming at some point, left some bad habits behind to get into these good habits? What is the mechanism to make that happen? Because I know for so many of our bad habits, they're habits. They're a part of our life. So to make a big change, it might not happen quickly, but if you take the right small steps, I'm sure it gets a lot easier.
Exactly. So taking small steps is the best way to do it. If you aren't a big vegetable eater, you don't go out and buy tons of vegetables and think you're going to become a good vegetable eater. Like I would say, buy something that you like and add something new, and then just keep trying things. Baby steps are really important. I even say that with one of my bigger, when I'm working with fitness people, nutrition people, water drinking is a big thing. And I just talked about that yesterday, how I didn't drink enough water, and how that affected me. And water drinking is a challenge for a lot of people. We're used to putting coffee in our body, pop, energy drinks, drinking just other things other than water. And water is one of the most cleansing things, but it's tough, so what we do with that is I say, just add a cup a day, and if it has to be every week, just add a cup a day. Then we start with that. We just start little tiny steps. And that's what I did with my lifestyle changes. Some of it was like, okay, easy chicken, and let's add cooked vegetables. Now let's just do it all. That's how I incorporated it. Now really what's propelled that is I've been on this I've always loved health and fitness and nutrition, but about 10 years ago, maybe it was a little less than that. I can't remember if it was before Lucas or after. It probably was after Lucas. I became borderline diabetic. Yeah, it was after Lucas because I was working at a different job, and I remember the transition of that. So anyways, and I became borderline diabetic, and I just was not feeling good. I was really just just not myself. I just groggy all the time and just started to become really depressed, was overweight. And I went to the doctor and they were like, yeah, you're borderline diabetic. You need to start making some lifestyle changes. So I hooked up with a community. I went to a fitness gym for a while, and they were amazing, and they helped me get on track. And then fast forward a few years later, I actually took that home, and now I just incorporate that lifestyle. And it's been a journey. It's been a couple of years of, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. It takes time and consistency. And I always say, give yourself grace. Like, if you slip, no big deal. Like, today is a new day. Like, so you had chips or you binged on the weekend. Okay, well, how do you feel? You feel okay about that? Okay, well then let it go. If you don't, then it's on you. You got to make those changes. And it's hard for some people, and it was hard for me too, because I love chips and cookies. I was just telling you about this. I'm making some different types of cookies that I'm going to try over the holidays, and I love those things, but the reality is, like, the scale in my body doesn't love them, and so I have to do what makes me feel better, and so that's why I do that. So.
And yeah, you mentioned the scale in your body, but then you said feels better or feel better. And really that's the most important thing. And I think oftentimes if we're if we're gaining weight and eating bad, we're not going to feel good, whether it's because we don't like the way we look, or more so just the fact that you put things in your body that aren't necessarily healthy or possibly quite unhealthy. You just don't feel good. And it's hard to detach the moment of enjoying what we're eating, because it does do whatever to our brains to make us feel like, oh, I love eating this. But then we kind of forget that minutes or hours later, we feel not so good, and it's all tied together.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can come up with a system where you plan it in advance to avoid eating poorly, and then you're feeling better. So you're putting good things in your body, you're feeling better. Life changes for the better, I think, so often. So let's talk about, if you have anything more to say about the healthy eating, great. But also it's more than that for you right now. At least you've been very intense with your workouts on top of that. That's something that I'm not doing, and I'm not sure when I'll be able to incorporate all of that together. But I think it is a baby step thing, where seeing what you are doing, seeing what my brother, your husband, Chuck, is doing. It's like, I know they can do it. I know I can do it. I've done it before. And just, I want to understand the full process of just living a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I think, like, you nailed it on the right there. Is okay. So a portion of healthy lifestyle is your nutrition. Now, some people will say 80% of weight loss or healthy lifestyle is nutrition, and then 20% is fitness. And you might read some other variations where it's 50-50. But I do believe I have worked my tail off and followed workout routines to a T, and ate not very good and had no results. And then I've had it recently, in the last year or so, I stuck to it, and I really saw some progress. And when I started taking pictures, I did measurements. My scale doesn't change very much, because I'm a bigger, my build, I'm 5'10", so I'm a bigger build body wise. And so weight for me on the scale, I will measure it, just because that's the measure that they ask for coaching. But I don't see as much of a fluctuation as I do inches and stuff. So anyways, getting to the point of where I'm going with this is the fitness needed to be important. It all goes in hand. So whatever you choose first, whatever calls to you first, you need to work on that first. And that's a personal journey with everybody. Like, some people are like, I want to get to, you'll feel better when you're working out, because the endorphins have really released in your body, and you've got the feel good hormones going through your body. When you're exercising, you will feel better. But if you want to see size changes, if that's your goal, is to lose weight, then you have to incorporate the nutrition also. So they go hand in hand. And for Chuck and I, he kind of jumped on the boat first. He really got motivated. And I was there, and then I fell off, and then I got back on it again. And seeing his persistency and seeing how he has really progressed through all of his, battles of staying fit and going off and not being fit, I just see that that's just an important key to this. So eating healthy really helps with, also when you're working out, your muscles get less fatigued. You don't feel as, you don't get as sore if you're eating cleaner. There's just a lot of really good things. Plus you're building your body with, and nutrients in your body up again. And so there's a lot of really good things that come with like the nutrition and the fitness. And for us, like that's just become a lifestyle that we've adopted. And now that we are more visual on like social media, that has helped us kind of propel, I think. That's helped me stay accountable to what I say I'm going to do. Because I realized like I was kind of hiding for a while from social media just because I wasn't very confident and I didn't feel good about myself at times. And I needed to like throw it out there. And that for some reason that has helped me, okay, I got to keep on track here because this is something I put out to the world and to people that I care about or people that I know. And I want to show accountability. And that's my passion and my dream, that the fitness and nutrition world has always been has been a passion and a dream to be a part of. And I'm a part of it now. So I have started a group with my best friend, Cam. We do a face group together, and it's just gone really well. And we are there to support people with fitness and nutrition. And I'm so glad I get to do this journey with my friend Kim, because she's been there too. She has this great journey herself, and she's ran half marathons and she's done some really cool things. And so it's really cool to have that community and have that support system. And that's what I want to give people, is that community and support system to help them reach their fitness, nutrition, lifestyle goals. So, yeah.
I would say for some people, especially, there is a need for the community. I think some people on their own are self-motivated in certain ways where they can be this super healthy version of themselves without much issue. And I think there's others, and I probably fall into this other category where I do need people around me. I need to see that other people are doing it as a reminder that there's things that I can do better. And it still doesn't come easy far too often, it seems. But just seeing what you and Chuck and others are doing, including this, you're on this, 100-day fitness thing, which seems like that's a daunting number. That's a third of a year you're committing to, and you're most of the way through it, it seems. Explain exactly how that has gone and what that all entails.
Yeah, so I came back from a coaching summit, and my best friend Kim and I decided that we were going to do the workouts program called the Morning Meltdown 100. So it's 100 workouts, and it can be 100 days straight, or you can double up and you can make it shorter. So it's really what works best for you. But the beauty of the system is it's a 25 to 30 minute workout. It's like a HIIT workout one day, the next day it's cardio, the next day it's strength training, the next day it's another type of HIIT cardio, and then there's a stretch day. So there's 5 workouts in each week, or else you can combine them and do, multiple per day if that fits your timeline, your time frame. But working on one workout a day has been kind of the trend that I've been going with. Sometimes I'll double up and do a little bit more. And then Chuck joined along too, because he likes to do the Beachbody products also, and he likes to do the workouts, and he's done a variety of them. And it's just great to be a part of that. I'm on day 63 now, I think it is, and I've seen a lot of really good results. I really found out the combination of different exercises has really helped me get my metabolism revved up again. And I've seen, I've lost 10 inches, 10 pounds, and I feel better. I'm more confident. So when you feel better, then you just want to keep doing it. And one of the things I do want to share is, even though I've been doing this lifestyle change for years, I mean, I really have been working on this for years on and off, probably since 30. And I'm almost 40 I'll be 40 next year. It still is hard to press play almost every day. I do want to admit that as a coach, that I do struggle with that sometimes, but when I press play and I finish it, I feel so good. I'm very happy I've done it. But I just want people to know, like, well, I just don't feel like working out. I don't want to worry about, like, what if I lose all my weight and, you know, my body's not the same. And, you know, like, those are struggles that we have as coaches too. And I just want people to feel like, understand that, like, it's hard for us too, but we've promised ourselves. I've made a promise. I have this wall that has, like, I've made a promise, and I have 100 workouts listed on it. And every day that I cross one off, it just makes me see that, oh my gosh, I'm living my dream. You know, this is what I've always wanted to do. And it's cool that there's a community of people that have a similar vision. And some of us are running, some of us are working out, some of us are doing the Beachbody programs. We're just kind of a group that's all together. It's a free fitness program that that Kim and I developed, and we're just there to motivate each other and support each other. And so, yeah, so we do those challenge groups just to keep people accountable, have some people feel like connection and community. Now, you know what, with the different types of workouts that there are out there, like there's gyms, and I think that's wonderful too. People need what works for them. And so for all, you know, all purposes, this works for us. And if this is something that you think might work for you, you know, that's something to connect with us and just talk to us about. But, like, I love gyms in the community too. They do a lot of really good things for people out there, and they bring that community together. And I think that's wonderful. And the more that we can have out there, and it's just a great resource for everybody. So.
You mentioned the coaching. So you're officially a coach, I believe, through Beachbody. Is that how that plays out? Because I know you've been involved with that for a while.
Yep. So I was a Beachbody coach. Oh gosh, I've been a Beachbody coach on and off for, I think, 4 years, but I did take a break, and I decided to really jump on board, like, within the last year or so. I really started to go. I went to it's called a coaching summit. And so basically just a giant conference with Beachbody coaches. And we go there to learn just from each other. And it was just a wonderful, like, experience. And I thought I was ready for being a coach at that point, but then I don't know, something shut off. I think it was just the doubt in the back of my mind that was just like, this is just not what you should be doing right now. Or I don't know, there's a lot of self-talk going on that wasn't very good. And this last time when I went to like, let's do this, let's commit to this workout. You know, I'd been doing the workouts prior to that, and I saw some results. I'm like, let's go all in and just make this happen. And so that's what I've been doing. And so 63 days later, I'm still working at it. I'm eating healthy. I'm seeing results. And now I've got a group of people, which is really great. And I'm doing it with my best friend, which is super awesome to do something with somebody that you've been closest friends with for so many years. And yeah, so it's good.
And we can put into the show notes best ways to get in contact with you about that if someone in the audience is interested in learning more about that. But the one thing that I'm very casually involved in at this point, something you started not too long ago, but I really like seeing it, is this Facebook group that you started just to be encouraging of workouts and healthy habits. Because I think what happens if you only post things, say on Facebook, to your main wall or story, that's landing on a lot of people that aren't maybe ready for it. It's good maybe that everyone kind of sees what someone else is doing and maybe gets that thought in their mind, but to be a little more active and to post more and to really talk more into it, it's better to be in a specialized type of group. So you created that. And I think a lot of the talk in there is, you know, what people have done for the workouts on that day, how much water they're drinking, which I know is one of the important things that I know for my well-being is staying hydrated. And as you've talked about already in our conversation today. So tell me about this group more, and maybe that'd be a good way for someone to step into this arena if they haven't done much thinking about healthy living lately. So if someone were to enter this little Facebook area, what might they see from your perspective?
Yeah, so it's just a virtual community that's there to support you in your lifestyle changes. So some people are working on nutrition and adding healthier recipes. Some people are fitness. Most of the people in there, I would say, are fitness related, and they have goals of either, running. They run races. They may do half marathons, triathlons. A lot of us do at-home workouts or some version of that, and it's not exclusive. This group is not exclusive to just one type of program, but in the future, maybe something will branch off, but we'll announce that as that goes forward. But anyways, it's just a fitness and nutrition group to just focus on healthy lifestyles. We also focus a little bit on just well-being, and some, like today's Thankful Thursday, and so every day we try to kind of pull out a theme. So Monday's Motivational Monday. So that's the day to set your goals, kind of like share with a group what you want to set for the week. You can do that either Sunday or Monday, actually, but Monday's our motivational day. So that's Motivational Monday. Tuesday is Transformation Tuesday. So we talk about transformation, both Kim and I that co-run this group. We share transformation stories on there. So Kim did a couple and now I've done one. And there's also transformation of the mindset that we've also added to that, because a lot of, not only are you fixing the outside of yourself, and the inside is also important to work on too, because when our body changes and we start making lifestyle changes, we got to get our self-talk working too. So transformation can happen in the body physically and then also inside too. Wednesday, we do water challenge Wednesday, I think is what I call it. Sorry. Thursday is Thankful Thursday. Friday is sometimes I call it Funny Friday. So it could be like you could put a funny post or funny joke or Foodie Friday or something. Maybe we share a recipe that day. Saturday is one of those days where it's kind of just a relaxed, chill day. And then Sunday we go back to like motivation again, and just setting your goals for the week, sharing, maybe sharing recipes, ideas if you're doing that. So that's kind of the theme that we've gone with, and we just keep posting on it every week. This week, this group will go for, this challenge group will go for about 8 weeks, and then we're going to end it at the end of November. So it'll be, I think it ends technically this year because Thanksgiving is so late, right before the week of Thanksgiving. So yeah, so it goes for 8 weeks, and people can check in, share their results. And some people just follow, and that's okay too. I mean, it's whatever keeps you accountable and however it helps, liking the pages, liking people's comments, loving, hearting, commenting below, all that stuff helps keep people motivated.
Someone listening right now, watching us right now, wants to join this. This sounds like something they want to do. What's the best way for them to get in contact with you for this?
Yeah, if they could message me through Facebook Messenger, that would be the best way. And just send me a direct message, or Kim, my co-partner, on this, the co-coach on this. Both of us are listed as people that can approve. We want to make sure that, that we're not inviting people in. This is a group to support people, and we don't want sales. I want to address this just because I know it has happened to us where people have tried to be a part of the group, but we really want to make sure that people know that person in the group. Somebody knows that person in the group, so everybody feels comfortable with sharing and stuff. We don't want salespeople, coming and trying to sell something to them that might be fitness, nutrition related, just because this is a free group. And we just want to, honor the people that are participating in this, and honor the people that have created this to be a part of that too. So if they have a connection to you, Curt, that would be really helpful to be like, yeah, I know Curt through the podcast, or or I heard you on the podcast, I'd like to be a part of your group, then that'll help me navigate that a little bit. So it hasn't happened a whole lot, but I just wanted to address it because it did happen one time, and we didn't, it is what it is. So those things happen. I know people have to do their jobs too.
Well, I will put a link to the show notes so that people can find your Facebook page and reach out to you that way. If nothing else, and always people can reach out to me and I could send them your way as well. A couple of
That's
the
right.
topics here that I want to get into before our personal growth and being wrong segments. One that
Okay.
it came to mind as we were discussing that is you and gardening have a relationship that not too many people in my life do. That's something that you're passionate about and have been involved
Yeah.
with. And
Sure.
it plays into maybe not exactly this topic. Everything that you're talking about, you could do without being into gardening and having
Right.
enjoyment of that. But I'd
Right.
imagine that could also be very helpful in the things that you eat and just understanding where your food is coming from. So explain your background with that.
Yeah, so I am a certified master gardener. So it's a University of Minnesota Extension certification, and it's a volunteer program. So we are educators in the community that provide resources for growing produce, and then also just all plants that grow in Minnesota. We're here as a resource for that. But I've gotten really involved in our school gardens, our local high school garden. I was a co-founder of one of the local school gardens along with another wonderful individual. And it was just a great process to see that build from the ground up. And 5 years later, they're still growing out there, and that's really exciting. And I do have a little bit of a role, but it's not as strong as it used to be, just because of my job transitions and just just the role of like the way that those type of gardens grow. But as my kids grow older and move away, then I'll probably have more involvement in that. But basically, I love growing flowers, and I love growing food. I wish I had more time to do it. That's been my downfall, is I don't have as much time as I'd like to. So I do a lot of container growing right now to kind of help support with that. But so we have some cherry tomatoes. My best friend came down, Kim, of course, the other coach that I coach with, and she helped me with some planting of container pots and stuff. And so we had tomatoes and some, I think we had zucchini. So I got some produce from that. But if I don't get that, then I buy it from the farmer's market or else the local grocery stores. What I think, going back to the growing, being a I will just learn more. I love to learn about stuff in general. Just really love to learn about anything that's healthy, lifestyle related, and the gardening just fits with that. And I've learned so much from being around the gardeners in my short stint of being a master gardener. I think this is my third year, but I've really got involved in. I've been at like farmers markets as an educator. I've been a part of like a plant sale several years in a row. We have a large community event that is an educational session for the community called Burst into Spring. And I've been a part of that, just helping with some marketing stuff. And it's just been such a cool process to be with people that are like-minded. And that's, just what I just really desire, is just to hang out with people that have the same goals of like just learning and educating people in the public. So going back to the school garden stuff, I really feel like that's such a need in even in rural, we are still considered rural Minnesota out here where I live. And, I think if we can get kids into the dirt and just teach them how to grow things, they get so excited. Like, it's so fun. I've seen like the little summer camp kids from the ages of kindergarten to sixth grade, and they did educational sessions this summer with them. And it was so fun to see them get excited about being there and picking produce and bringing it home to their families. And that's what it's about. It's about teaching them those lifestyle habits that they could have. And you never know how that'll ripple effect and affect people. I know when I was growing up as a kid, we had a big garden, and then we moved and the garden kind of shifted, but it was still like container gardening, and it was a little tinier garden, but we had a lot of fresh produce when I was a kid. And that's just what I want for my kids now, is like, I want them to see things grow from the ground and do that. So hopefully someday life will slow down a little bit, right? And we'll be able to do some of that. But I think like even showing people little ways to add things to your garden, like you can plant lettuce in a container, you can plant a tomato in a pot, and you can still eat healthy, and just teaching them where it comes from. So
That all ties together very nicely with being healthy, eating healthy, and you know, understanding that food that grows out of the ground is what we probably should be eating because our ancestors lived off of that. They didn't live off of crackers and cookies and candy and other junk food that we've developed habits of liking over recent decades. They definitely were eating things that grew, and if the climate was right, it's probably very plentiful and very healthy at times. So that
Yeah.
that is what we should focus on for our body, what it learned over the history, what it really needs to be healthy and live healthy. So that's one thing. But another thing, kind of totally changing subjects here, a little bit later today, I'll be meeting up with you again. So actually, I'll see you today, even though we're recording this right
Yeah.
now. As
Great.
you've gotten me into, I've been volunteering off and on in different things throughout my life. Back in the day, I was in the JCs, Rochester JCs. We do some community programs and raise some money and give money back. And not too long ago, I don't do it right now, but I've been tutoring, helping people study for their GED. The only current thing technically that involved with volunteering is something that you organize, and that's serving meals to people that are in need of a meal now and again. And so we do that. Explain what has
Yeah.
led you to be involved in that and anything else that you're involved with in that way as a volunteer.
Yeah, yeah. So the program that Curt is talking about that we volunteer for is Loaves and Fishes, and there's several sites throughout the Twin Cities area that set up meals and cook the meals and then serve the meals to families of need in the Minnesota communities. And there's lots of different variations of community meal settings. We are my church has been a part of Loaves and Fishes for over 20 years, and I took over the reins, I believe, 5 years ago. So of just being a coordinator of volunteers to bring them down to the cities and help them help serve families of need in the cities. And so Curt has joined us, and I really felt it as a calling. I was sitting in church one day, and all of a sudden I just had this feeling like, you have to do this. And I was like, okay. And I'm like, I really am busy right now. This is super crazy. But ever since I've done it, I've never it's been such a blessing, and it's just been such a cool experience to see and know that you're helping other people that might have less, or just somebody that might need a hot meal for the night, and it just feels good. And so that's why I do it, is because I want people to learn to see that there's a need in our community, because I feel like life can go by so fast and we can forget some things. And if we can share awareness of, this is a program and a great resource for people, and this can help a lot of people, I think this is just a good fit. And so I took over the volunteer side of that, where we serve the food and then we clean up the kitchen and the space. And we have another team of people that go down and cook the food. So we have two different coordinators that come from our community to help make this run. And so, yeah, and Curt, I've just asked, and he's come, and that's been wonderful, because sometimes we've been kind of short, and I know sometimes it's like the days just get away from me, and sometimes it's just a busy time for a lot of people. But we appreciate everybody that is a volunteer and that helps with that, because it just makes it a lot easier to go. And it's amazing how people do come together and they meet and they become friends, and it's just been kind of a fun experience. So I really appreciate that. I've met a lot of really cool people. And so Loaves and Fishes is a nonprofit that's in the Twin Cities area, and they do provide the hot meal, they provide the hot meal setting. Sometimes they do provide some of the food. It just kind of depends on how every team is organized a little bit different. But for our team, what we do is we provide the hot meal, and then we serve it, and then we clean up the space for the night. They do have signups online for just so you can see it's Loaves and Fishes, and I'll give you that information so that you can get that in the show notes. But it's just a great way to give back to people, and just to teach your kids. There are some age guidelines that you have to follow just because there's hot food being served. And, it is normally a professional kitchen. So there are some rules about that, but I've always had such a great experience, and that's why I keep coming back. So.
And volunteering, I think, is something, if you're not in the habit of doing it, it's something easy to forget, because you can focus on going where you get paid for your job and spending time with your family and friends and whatever you normally do. But it's not that, it doesn't take that much. So even for this, I think our group is that once every 2 months you're in charge. So
Yeah. Yep.
times a year.
Six
It's a
times a
big
year.
commitment,
Yep.
I think, because for you, you're driving about an hour south to come to that church, and then
Yeah.
spending a few hours there and going back. So on that day, it's a big
Yeah.
commitment. But really, even if it's just that, for someone that hasn't been volunteering but maybe would do it and just doesn't really know how, whether it's Loaves and Fishes or anything else, if you just search for
Yeah.
volunteer opportunities, and if you're doing it once every couple months, you're probably going to feel good about it. And the more time people are able to give back and just push things forward without expecting any money in return, I think it's probably a lost art in this day and age. Is we're so needing to make money to pay for all the things that we have. But I think sometimes we got to remember, it's just give our time and allow our time to be traded for something good for somebody else. And it's not that hard just to show up every once in a while. As long as you got it on the calendar, it's really, for me, that's it. Just tell me when to be there. If I can be there, I'll be there.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing, is making sure that I communicate out to people that it is an opportunity. I think that's one thing that's a huge vital thing of it. Because sometimes you go, like you said, if you don't get it on your calendar, it's one of those things. And I get super busy, and then all of a sudden I'm scrambling last minute. So in 2020, I'm going to do a lot better job of, just pushing, making sure the dates are communicated out to all resources, and just letting people know that this is an opportunity. I know that we do, like, groups in our area do Feed My Starving Children. We've done a feature on that for the Carstensen team, and with one of our podcasts that we have. And it's a really good, like, you do feel good. And I think that empathy side of helping out somebody and just being there for somebody, whatever it is, there's so many different options and opportunities, and you have to do what feels right for you. So yeah, and the invite is always open, and it's a great way to connect and meet people, and just do something good for other people. So.
Excellent. With that, let's move into the personal growth segment. And I don't know where you want to take this, but I do know that you've been, at least based on what you've told me, an avid listener of the podcast. So you're familiar with the move that this segment has made in recent weeks and months, of just being an opportunity for you to share. We've shared a lot already, I think, but share something about your life, about your story, that you think would be helpful for you to share for yourself, helpful for others, whatever you think, but in ways that you've been improving yourself that you think is worth talking about. So when I tell you that, what comes to mind today?
Yeah. So today, I think the number one thing that comes to me is I've been always focusing on mindset for many years now, because mindset is something that really can get derailed either way. Mindset, you can be you can be right on track with everything, but if your mindset is off, that really can really affect things. And so I've worked on mindset and just building my confidence. And ways I do that are by reading books. I like Rachel Hollis. I like, I'm going to lose my train of thought here for different people that I like, but I like a variety of different women speakers, just because they call to me. But I also I've gone to Michael Burnoff, and I like his trainings too. And Michael Burnoff from Core Strength. And it's been, such a change. Like, that was something that was kind of new to me before I met Chuck. I didn't really know what personal development was, because he does that a lot for his real estate stuff. And more entrepreneurs, more often than not, that's the foundation of what you do. And as a coach, actually, for our daily actions, personal development 15 minutes of personal development is required. If you're following your daily action sheets, they have a form that you check off of different things, and personal development is tied into that. So it's tied through in different things in my life. And so I listen to podcasts, I read books, music's really inspiring for me, and that helps with my mindset, that has positive, uplifting messages in it. The music in general just tends to be really healing for me, I've realized throughout the years, and I spend a lot of time in my car. So listening to podcasts, listening to people's perspectives, listening to people's struggles, because a lot of times, you can pump yourself up with all that good stuff, but also listening to why people struggle and like what their struggles are, because that's what I'm going to help people cope through. So those are kind of the different things I've been working on. I would like to work on more. So like, I'm a big person. I do believe that the gratitude practice does work really well. I've known lots of real estate people and just entrepreneurs that do gratitude practice, where they write down 5 things a day that they are grateful for. And it's not like my car, you can be in the beginning, my car, my this, my that, but really get deep and talk about what you're grateful for. So like, one of the things I started doing more often than not, I don't do it every day, so I can't say every day, I've worked on gratitude, and that really has helped with the mindset, because this is a very inside here. This is a very powerful tool that can really impact or affect people. And so we have to be really careful about that. And as I'm just growing and learning more things, I just want to be more open. And that's what I do for my personal development. I do go to some coaching stuff. And I really have appreciated all those coaching experiences, just because I feel like that's another way of growing, and just like listening to like people's perspectives of how they've grown, and that has helped me a lot. I think sometimes pulling yourself out of it and going to a retreat is good for you, because it helps with it just helps you get a different perspective and maybe think about things a little different. So yeah.
No, that's definitely good. I think that falls very much in line with some of the stuff that I've done, just learning from other people. I think that's the important thing, is other people have gone through whatever they've gone through, and they have something to share, and just kind of continuing that process. And that's what we're doing here today, talking and putting this conversation out, because if we all live in a little bubble where we hear very few opinions and thoughts and information, we're going to kind of be stuck in wherever we are without an ability to grow. But if we open ourselves up to other people that have learned whatever they've learned, and try to take in some of that and push ourselves forward, we can do more. But also with that is just to recognize that, yeah, people do struggle. We all struggle in our own ways, and not necessarily keep that silent, and be able to talk about what it is that we haven't necessarily gotten over yet or don't feel great about, but knowing that that's pretty normal. It's normal to feel so abnormal, to feel so wrong or bad, whatever it is that we feel for just being ourselves. Sometimes that's okay. And to kind of work through those things honestly and openly is something I've tried to do more through this podcast, and appreciate anyone offering whatever they're able to do.
Yeah. No, I do think that that's a process that too. I've battled with depression for many years, and it sparred from when I roll back to, okay, when did this really all start? A lot of it was, I didn't have a lot of goals in place. And so I was living life day by day, and that's a lot of us. We live life day by day, but it was like, I'm the type of person, okay, what's next? And I wasn't really crossing anything off because I didn't have a what's next. I didn't have something next to reach to. So, okay, so for example, now I write out outcomes of, I want to lose this much weight. I want to work out this many times a week. I want to drink this many ounces of water. I was just living my life like day to day, like, man, what's going to happen today? Let's go to class and, let's go to work and do our job. And yeah, I mean, those are all important things to do. Don't get me wrong. Like, but when you have outcomes and you start seeing that ripple effect of you're doing them, there's some powerful effect that happens with that. And I'm not going to say that I'm not depressed, but I'm less depressed than I was, because I do get bummed out some days. I really do. But it's working towards being that better person. I've also experienced the postpartum depression with both my kids, and that's a really scary thing to go through. And I'm very thankful that there was people that saw that I was struggling, but sometimes it does become an internal beast inside of you. And so just knowing that there are people out there to help, and it's okay to admit that you're not feeling okay, because we always want to be like, well, I'm fine, I'm okay. Sometimes that's the way some people may feel. And it's okay to say that you're not feeling all right and to ask for help. I think that's one thing that I've seen less happening, is people not asking for help. That does not make you weak. Like, I want people to know that if there's anything in life, like, you are meant to be here for a reason. And I feel like I'm meant to say this message for some reason, but you're meant to be here for a reason. You have purpose, you have fire, you're here. Now let's do this, and let's help you, and let's move forward. And so in my lowest points of my life, I have to remember that sometimes, it's like, okay, let's do this, and I remember that, like, I do remember those feelings of how I felt. And you just, I just want people to know that there's always somebody there for you. And if you ask, it'll work out. And if you don't, just keep asking, because it'll be okay. So, and I feel like now is like in our era, like, that's more acceptable than ever. So that's where I always encourage people, like, if you aren't feeling good, like, go get the help that you need, because that's what it's there for.
You mentioned depression, and I know that I'm learning more and more that it's way more common than I ever realized. And I don't know if I was ever truly depressed. I certainly had stretches of my life where I didn't feel so good about, most things, but I think mine was on a smaller scale, where some people, and I don't know how you would describe yours, deal with it for longer lengths of time, more frequently, and maybe a deeper hole that you feel like you're in. So you've experienced that, and you said less so now. But when you hear other people talk about their experiences with that, what does that do for you or to you, knowing that you're not alone, and either maybe close to being alone, as it's quite common? Because even on this podcast, few episodes in the last recent week, there's been individuals talking about their own depression that they're dealing with, and it just makes me realize, wow, this is happening all the time to a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, I listen, when people share, if they share, that's the one thing that I think, again, it can become this month, like this, it can become an internal fight that people guard themselves, and they're like, nope, I'm fine. And it's okay to admit that you're not. I know, because I was one of those. I was like that. So I'm not saying everybody's like that, because I am like that, but I know that was a struggle I had. And I had a really hard time in one of my professions admitting that I was struggling, because I was worried that I would be perceived as weak. Nobody ever said that to me. That was me talking to me. Okay. So nobody ever said you're weak because you're showing weakness or you're showing depression. Nobody ever said that. That was me playing, again, the mindset, and the self-talk just wasn't there. And that's why, I think if we share more about this and bring light to it a little bit more, everybody's got their own variation of what it is, what really keeps them going. The fitness has helped me a lot. Nutrition and healthy eating foods that I know will help with depression, dark chocolate and like walnuts, and eating rich foods that'll help boost up some of those levels to help with that. Doesn't fix it. And some people, they do need to be on medicine, and that's just fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You know, you do have to do what's best for you and what you're comfortable with. And yeah, so I just think if everybody shares in their own variation of what it is, that may attract to somebody, and maybe they'll go get help or get the resources that they need.
Thank you for sharing that, Melissa. And we're going to go to the Being Wrong segment in just a moment, but can you show me your t-shirt, your shirt that you're wearing?
Is it right here? Yep. My favorite
bars are chocolate.
Or chocolate, yes.
You just mentioned the dark chocolate, so I wanted to
dark chocolate, yes.
For those that are watching this conversation on the People I Know Show YouTube channel, then you can see Melissa's workout shirt. A reminder that, you know, I don't know. We've had
humor.
Fun when other bars as well.
You gotta have some humor too in life. You know, it's like, yeah, life is about laughing, and you know, you're gonna have your tears and you're gonna have some of those things, but you know, just trying to find the joy and the laugh. And I'm kind of a jackass. I don't think I should say that probably, but whatever.
Are you? You really
sometimes, think you are? Well, sometimes I think I used to be more jokey than I am now, jokester-ish than I am now, because I don't have the influence as much. It's me hanging out with myself sometimes here. So, and then I have my kids, which they're like, Mom, that's not cool. So, you know, so yeah, but you know, I like to have, you know, joke around and laugh, because that's good for you. It's good for your heart. It's good for your soul. So
I think all of us are capable of being in different moods. Some of where we're more fun and some where we're less fun. I know, thinking about myself, that sometimes I'm a lot more fun than other times. And knowing you now for 10 years or so,
I know.
Same for you. You're really fun sometimes, and sometimes you're more intense and focus on something else, or maybe your mind's in a different place and you're less thinking about being fun. But I sure like when you are having fun, because you're a great speaker.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's, you know, everybody's got their moods, like you said, but yeah, it's like, you know, it's fun. It's fun to be around people that are like-minded, and just, you know, even if we're not like-minded, you know, just accepting, I think, right? Because like, we're all here. We all have in our body, you know, it's just accepting like you are. So
yeah, we're all down whatever path that we're on, and we're trying to make the most of it. And I think most of us are trying to make our lives better and other people's along the way. So that's
right on.
Pretty much my focus and why I have this podcast. And I like to, I'm very open and willing to changing my mind. And I love the Being Wrong segment for that. So let's get to that. The Being Wrong segment, it developed, I guess, first with wrongness, because I feel like we've all been wrong. We can look back at our past self and think, yeah, this was wrong. I wish I knew then what I know now. But ultimately, it's about changing our mind. Where has your mind changed? Where can you say that you were wrong, Melissa?
Yeah. So, you know, this was a kind of a hard one to pick out, but I decided to select, what I was wrong about is thinking that I would never be able to forgive somebody if they really wronged me in some way. I have realized that holding on to things that are negative, or holding on to memories that maybe weren't the best and against somebody, is just not something that I should do. And you know, the process of not being able to forgive somebody is not healing at all in any ways. For me, it wasn't. Once I figured out forgiveness, truly understood forgiveness, letting go of the negative emotions that are tied to a behavior, basically, I released a lot of things. I released that anger. I released all the negative emotions that were attached to it. And it's not perfect, and I don't do it perfectly, but I've realized throughout my life that it's just better to just forgive. And like I told you off air, you know, sometimes I realize now that some people just don't even realize they're doing what they're doing. And maybe they do know, and they just don't know how to change, or, you know, it doesn't really matter, because like, that's their process and that's what they're doing. And I'm my process and this is what I'm doing. And so I've just learned that forgiveness for me is just releasing those negative emotions. And you can forgive people that have wronged you and hurt you, intentionally or not intentionally. And that is a process. That isn't, there's no damn timeline on this. There's not going to ever be a timeline on it, because the forgiveness might be a deeper forgiving than others. But for me, it's just a way to move forward and heal. I think when it comes to forgiveness for me now, what does that mean? It means just truly like seeing that person as a human, and that we all make mistakes, because god darn, I make mistakes and I say things that I've really regretted. And I really wish that people would learn to forgive me, but that's not my journey. That's not my thing to do. Maybe they have, and I don't even know it because we haven't had a conversation. But letting them know I'm really sorry that I've ever hurt or ever made you hurt. And I want to do this out on air, because there's been things I've done wrong, and I know I have, and I admit more so than ever when I'm wrong, because that's human error. You know, you get angry about something, or you're passionate about something, you think it's that way, but I realize like that doesn't really matter. Like, it doesn't make me feel good to respond negatively to somebody. It may make me feel like at first, like, oh, okay, I made my point, but then I feel bad. And so the process of that is, I remind myself, is if I'm doing that and somebody does that to me, you got to remember that it can happen again. And then how are you going to handle that situation? And I am a firm believer in things do reprocess again if you haven't learned your lesson. And so sometimes I think that, and the reason why I believe that is because it's happened to us multiple times. And so if you don't learn the lesson, you're going to get it. You're going to get the interaction again somehow. It'll come to you in some way. It may not be the same person, but it'll be a similar like behavior. And how you respond to it is, did you learn a lesson from that? So I look at things as, how can I learn and grow from it, versus like on an attack side of the victim side of, why are they doing this to me or whatever. So anyways, that's kind of two different things going on there. But my theme was, I want to tell people that you can get to forgiveness at some point. And there are some really sad things that happen to people, and really horrific things happen to people. And that timeline will be different for everybody. But once you can figure it out, you're in a lot more peaceful place.
And getting to the main point of what you said you're wrong about, refusing to forgive someone for something does you no good.
No.
They're not. How is that going to move your life forward if you are stuck in a place where you will not forgive someone, no matter what it is? And I can't imagine some of the things that some people would possibly have to consider forgiving someone for. But still, though, it's easy for me to say, as someone not dealing with whatever someone else is dealing with, if you've refused to get over something, how is that helping you? Easier said than done. I know.
It is easier said than done. It is.
I think ultimately, if the goal of your life is to, and maybe not everyone has this goal, mine is to live an enjoyable life, to have moments of happiness and joy, and be good to other people, and just try to push humanity forward in a way that makes life better for more people. If you are anywhere in line with that, but you are holding on to something else from the past that keeps you from feeling as good about existing as you might, I just don't think it's serving the greater purpose. And maybe people have other purposes that are totally different than mine, and that's fine. I just think that the people I align myself with are close to where I am. And you got to forgive. You got to forgive yourself, forgive the other people, and move on. It's not going to happen that quickly all the time, but that's got to be the outcome that you're searching for, so that you can move forward.
Yeah, I think that was the breakthrough point for me in what you said, forgiving yourself was the final like step for me of realizing, Melissa, you have to see this like in different perspectives. Like you're not like, and okay, so for one thing that I held on for a long time was, I got divorced, and it was, why did that happen to me, this. In order for me to have my heart open to even accept somebody else in my life, I needed to forgive that person for, whatever they did or didn't do, and forgive myself for, I'm not, realizing that I I saw myself as a failure, and I saw myself as less, and just like let it be. Like that's just humanity, that's life, that's what happens sometimes. It's not, there isn't always an answer to something. That's the one thing that I've realized. Sometimes there's not really a solid answer. You don't ever get like, well, there has to be an answer, and sometimes there's just not. And that's being okay with what is versus what would have been or what will be. Just be in the present, be what is. And that's hard. Like that's been, my gosh, that's been like half my life, like working on, and that's a lot. Like, I mean, I'm not that old, but maybe I am. You don't know, because you can color up a lot of gray with all this big hair. You never know how old I really am, but no. And we're just human. We're just trying to exist, and like you said, try to be what we are. And most of us are trying to be on a journey to just be a better person and help people out. And everybody has experiences that are gonna, be different from yours and mine. But I think like you said, just finding that common goal of connecting with people. And it's just like, sometimes just gotta let it be what it is. Let it be what it is.
Let it be. And we can let
Yep.
it be for now, for today. I will see you later, but for this
Yeah.
conversation, I think we can wrap it up so we can both get things done that we need to before we see each other here in a few hours. Melissa,
Sounds
thank you
good.
for joining me. I'll be sure to add into the show notes, the episode notes, all the relevant links so people can find you and some of the stuff that we talked about in this conversation. And I appreciate you sharing your story with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.